Well, the news sucked last week. Let's whine about it.
You never step in the same river twice, but you can step in the same dog shit if you walk back on the same sidewalk.
It's not true that the news was only bad this week, so we'll get to it. Okay. Speaking of good news...
Yeah, give us some good news then, if it's not all bad.
Jair Bolsonaro, former president of Brazil, was sentenced to 27 years in prison for cooing.
Yay!
Cooing? Like a pigeon?
Yeah, no, cooing.
Yeah.
Cooing like a
We
dictator.
don't take kindly to pigeons around here in Brazil.
Oh, man. I wish I had my, party popper, yeah, congratulations. Lock 'em up.
Yep, that's what you do when you try to overthrow the government. You get thrown in prison, or what is done to you in the ideal situation.
Yeah. Better luck next time, America. Speaking of government collapses, the government of Nepal collapsed. A bunch of student demonstrators were demonstrating, and they just all hightailed it out of there. They're like, screw this. They hate us because we suck. And then they left.
The government. The government, not the students.
Yeah, the students
I saw
were
this. They were hanging on to ropes, hanging from helicopters, getting out of their Arnold Schwarzenegger style.
Damn, I didn't see that.
Full action hero mode, getting out of the Capitol.
They also burned down the Parliament building, right? They chased the Minister of Finance out of his house and down the street.
Naked?
Maybe.
I feel like if you're going to get chased down the street by an angry mob, you should at least be only one shoe or something.
It's interesting how malleable we are as outside observers, because we're talking about them one after the other. Jair Bolsonaro put in prison for overthrowing the government. Well, him bad, so
yes.
It's good that he's getting thrown in prison.
Yes.
But then these student demonstrators, we assume good, so them burning down the Parliament building is good?
No, I gotta admit, I know nothing about this other than that it happened. And yeah, probably there's good and bad involved. They've installed a former Supreme Court justice as their interim PM, and I wish them luck building a better future. Hopefully they're the good kind of cooers. Leave a comment. Was this a good coup or a bad coup? Leave a comment.
Is it right for us to automatically assume if it's a student demonstration, then it's probably a good thing if it worked?
Yeah,
Leave a comment.
It's not. Anyway, gosh, I was just trying to keep things positive, though that ends. So Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Just in case you live under a rock and this is where you're finding that out. If that's you, I'm really curious about your information diet, because this has been the biggest news item this week.
These must surely be the people who get their news only from InfoHazard, dude. They're just counting down the days every week till our News Hazard episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, growing.
Thank you for joining us.
Indeed. Russia flew more than a dozen drones over Poland this week. Not allowed to do that. These were armed drones, with bombs, the kind that goes to kill people. So yeah, a little bit of freak out from that. The analysis that I've seen has mostly agreed that the whole purpose of this is to get Ukraine's allies to redirect air defense resources instead of sending them to Ukraine to keep them at home. But, who knows what goes on in the mind of Mr. Vladimir.
This is kind of interesting that, Article 5 was potentially going to be invoked over this, right? It's a NATO member, and Article 5, the NATO agreement charter, thank you, says that if any member country is attacked, then
the NATO Google Doc.
So I think they were actually invoking Article 4, which is the consultation one, not
okay,
right.
Well, but it could potentially be invoked.
It could be.
They were attacked.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cases where they're obviously not going to do that. Come on, NATO's not ready to start actual fighting with Russia right now. They'd have to poke a lot harder.
It just seems like a big news item that, I don't know, that's a theme for this week. It was a pretty big news week, but most of everyone's attention was taken up, at least in the U.S., by the Charlie Kirk assassination.
Yeah. They even had they tried to have a moment of silence for him in the EU Parliament. It wasn't just the U.S.
A greenhouse gas reporting program is ending. The EPA is going to stop monitoring greenhouse gas emissions from thousands of coal-burning power plants, oil refineries, steel mills, and other industrial facilities. So global warming fixed. Yeah.
If you're not paying attention to it, then it goes away. Like it's like the ghost in Mario when you're not looking at it. No, wait, that's the other way around. When you look at it, it stops. And then when you turn away, it sneaks up on you.
Not partial to all the specific rules of Mario.
You're not partial to anything. God damn it.
No,
What
but
do
yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah, speaking of living under a rock, I'm surprised I knew about the news this week. Okay. But yeah, right. Further enforcing Trump's core belief that ignorance makes problems go away.
So this week, Fox News host Brian Kilmeade said we should kill all homeless people via involuntary lethal injection. You know, not like those voluntary lethal injections that are normally so common.
Was he joking?
No, he was not joking.
Yeah, and his co-host agreed. Like, yes, we should murder all of these people. And they didn't have to apologize.
He did eventually apologize, though, for what it's worth.
But it was his apology like, I realized that would be really, really, really bad, or like I realized that it was embarrassing to say that in public, and like my boss doesn't like it.
I didn't read his full apology.
Well, I think he's ready to be promoted to head of Department of Health and Human Services. What do you guys think? He's got checks all the boxes.
I think his apology was not sincere enough. He should volunteer for lethal injection. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander.
Boy.
Well, I mean, that sounds pretty stupid, but if you like stupid things, you might be a fan of our next guy, which is Trump, who recently said at a press conference, "Smart people don't like me." I've never agreed with him more.
He says lots of things I agree with. Right. I mean, like, yeah, there's like, of all the demographic splits, I think college educated versus non-college educated is one of the biggest ones, right? With whether you're going to vote for Trump, at least last time around.
Sure. College education is not the only, measure of what we would call intelligence and blah, blah, blah. But still, I mean, when you say that smart people don't like you, you're basically saying that I think the people who like me are stupid, which is kind of worse. I guess it's also sort of a tacit admission that, like, the things that you do are bad for the people who like you, right? Because if you were smart, you wouldn't like these things.
Checks out, I suppose.
Right. I mean, this whole, like, there's a lot of anti-elitism in MAGA, right? And so, like, just saying, like, smart can also just be shorthand for elite, right? Or people who think that they're so smart.
Anyway. I think this is Donald Trump specific. Like, Kash Patel couldn't get away with saying that. Or, like, the late Charlie Kirk would have gotten a lot of negative feedback for saying something like that. Or, like even someone like Alex Jones, who's like way into the crazy side, would still get a lot of pushback from saying that smart people don't like me. It's really just, yeah, I could kill a man in the middle of the street in broad daylight and it wouldn't affect my popularity himself, Donald Trump.
Yeah, there he goes again.
That's been another exciting episode of News Hazard. There he goes again. There we go again to the bank with all those new subscribers who just joined. Thanks, everybody. And we'll catch you next time here on the Info Hazard show that we call News Hazard sometimes. And it's not confusing and you're wrong. Goodbye.